Welcome back to Ride JBI. Today we finished a suspension revalve on this 2023 KTM 300XCW. The front forks were fitted with the WP Xplor 6500 kit. These replace the stock WP Xplor forks. The stock WP Xplor forks are usually on the very soft side, so they tend to be very well suited for beginner riders or riders that want the softest suspension possible. The majority of riders that are experienced tend to find that the stock suspension is way too soft and doesn't hold up well to aggressive riding. This suspension was built to our JBI suspension hard enduro spec. So while we still need it to be soft, we don't need it to be as soft as the stock WP Xplor setups, but we also need to have better bottoming than those setups as well. So our JBI spec hard enduro setting really focuses on rider comfort and predictability out of the bike as they work their way through the hard enduro sections, while also ensuring that there is plenty of bottoming resistance built into the setup. This is very important because often hard enduros feature obstacles that will have high or large impacts on the suspension, and we don't want the suspension to bottom out in those scenarios. We'll take it back. It's okay if it bottoms out. We don't want it to bottom out harshly to where the bike bounces and kicks up. It's a good thing to utilize all your suspension travel. You want to, but it's important that when you do, you aren't doing it harshly or using it too quickly, meaning the suspension bottoms out and bounces up. Instead, ideally, you want to use all of the travel, but towards the end of the travel, have the suspension progressively get stiffer, so when it does bottoms, it is not an overly harsh feel or impact for the rider. The Xplor 6500s is a twin chamber spring fork, so each fork features a twin chamber damper inside of it. This is a very similar damper design as the exact 6500 forks and also the WP cone valve forks. However, these ones are specifically set up for off-road riding from WP, and they're specifically made for fitting the WP Xplor forks, which utilize a different lug than the exact air forks. The WP Xplor shock was revalved to a matching JBI suspension hard enduro spec. Also, the piston, which encapsulates the nitrogen, that style was changed out for the WP Bladder kit. That is this black cylinder here and red cap. So now the rider has a very competitive front fork setup with the JBI spec WP Xplor 6500 cartridges in the front and a matching JBI spec WP Xplor shock. Again, both revalve and set up to hard enduro for that type of riding. The WP Xplor 6500 and exact 6500 cartridges have become very popular in the past year, and rightfully so. The components and hardware we have to work with are very high quality, and they respond very well to revalves and modifications, making this suspension have a very broad range in tuning and ability in handling the suspension, and its ability to handle a variety of terrain as well. So again, what I'm getting at, the suspension is very tunable internally and externally, and it also features the ability to handle a wide range of riding and terrain as well. And this is because of how well the suspension is designed and how well it functions. I am comparing this to the stock suspension that comes on the bike, if you're wondering what our reference point is or benchmark when we make comparisons about how good a suspension is performing. A other common setup we do for these forks is the JBI Spec KYB SSS drop-in forks. Those cartridges are equally as popular as well. In my experience, the best setup for the rider is whatever brand the rider prefers. Both the WP and KYB setups work very well. I have found some riders just prefer certain brands over others, and it's not my job at Ride JBI to push one or the other to a rider. It is instead to instill confidence in the rider that we have tested, tuned, and developed settings for whatever hardware setup that they choose. RideJBI.com features all JBI suspension services and parts that are available. If you'd like Ride JBI to do your suspension, please give us a call, send us an email, and we'll discuss the year, make, and model bike that you have, what suspension options are available, and which would work best for you.